Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest installment of 10 Minutes on Brand. I'm Will Straughn, Chief Growth Officer here at Focus Lab. And on this latest installment, I have the pleasure of talking with Bill Kenney, my business partner and Focus Lab CEO, about what makes brands good versus what makes brands bad. I guess you could say the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you all enjoy it. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Or if you have a topic that you'd be interested in us covering in a future 10 Minutes on Brand, let us know. Hope you enjoy it. All right, Bill. So today we've got some questions from the community, and the topic of today's conversation is going to kind of be the good, the bad, and the ugly in terms of branding. So the first question that our friends had asked us is, what is good brand work? And then there's a follow-up right behind it, which is, are there any brands that you absolutely love that you think are killing it? Which maybe it'll be good to describe what good branding is by using a real world example. So what you think, Bill?
Yeah. So, I mean, what a loaded question.
Yeah.
What is good branding? Like, what does a good built house look like and feel like? It's like, geez, I don't know. There's like a million different parts. I would say at a high level, at the macro level, good branding stems from a strong foundation. And I guess what I'm getting at there is purpose and story.
Yeah.
If the purpose and the story are well defined, well articulated, and clear to both the organization and the customer, I think you are off on the right track, on the right foot towards good branding without getting lost in visuals. You know, we can dissect visuals here if we need to, but really I think that's actually what sets up success.
Yeah. When I'm thinking of good branding is intentional, right? It seems like there was a reason for the things that they did. And just like you mentioned it, good brands have a sense of purpose, right? They're not a logo. It's much more than that. So any brands that come to mind that you're loving right now that you think are killing it?
It's almost like whether I love them or not is irrelevant, but are they performing well? Like, is the brand performing? And I think there are some very easy ones to shout out, and then maybe while we're saying it, we can go a little bit off of the obvious. But I would say Tesla is very foundational. It's built on purpose and story. We all know what the hell that story and purpose is at a macro level. And therefore, I think the brand resonates with the people that resonate with that story. So therefore, it's good branding, right? Like if I took the Tesla T as a logo, if we wanted to turn this into a design conversation, I don't know that I would necessarily personally love that logo. I don't know. It doesn't really resonate. But again, that doesn't matter. Like, brand is not down to a logo. Brand is higher than that. And I think Tesla does a fantastic job. Nike's an easy one to throw out there. I think their brand is extremely strong and what they stand for. And I think it's even actually gotten stronger. Think about Nike for me and you, Will, growing up. It's a bit more of the maybe the Jordan era, which maybe it was more about the appeal of the clothes and the shoes and kind of what that means. But even in the recent years, you start to think about their stance on societal issues, the Colin Kaepernick billboard and all that, right? Now that is woven into their brand. And I think that makes their brand even more powerful. So there's two quick examples of brands that I think are killing it.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, okay, so if we extrapolate, what are those two brands doing in addition? So I think with Nike, they kind of always have almost something to say at the right moments then. So they don't wait, exactly. They don't sit back. So maybe
they have an opinion, strong one at that.
And I guess it's aligned to their mission, as an organization. So maybe that's an important thing to note, that brands just don't sit back and wait. They feel like in today's world, they should be a part of the conversation. Yeah. Tesla, obviously, their whole mission to move the world to a more sustainable future, very clear. You see in everything they do. We're accepting Bitcoin one day.
We understand why that's important.
We're not accepting Bitcoin. Yeah, it's like, whoops. Yeah, I think one other brand that I think is killing it right now is Airbnb. So when their brand is all around, creating a sense of belonging. And you saw how they weathered the pandemic, right? They had to lose, they lost a tremendous amount of their team, but they did it in a way that was, aligned with their brand. They created that job posting board. They really tried to find all the employees that they had to lose a new place. So it wasn't just like, oh crap, we got to cut a ton of people. They did it in a graceful way that aligned with the culture and the brand that they had created. And then look at
Right.
them now. Now they're rebounding. So it's kind of like branding is much greater than design. It's kind of like that
1000%.
essence.
Yeah. Yeah. It's figuring out the essence. And I think the brands that go on to succeed, they can find their essence and then they can articulate it. And then it's woven through everything. I think the brands that stay flat or fail just never land on the essence. They might be shiny and flashy for a period of time, but without that foundational essence, you never really get to that next stage.
Yeah. Listen, learn, adjust. Brands
Yeah.
they're not static. Then now the next question that they asked along with these questions were, how do brands measure success? And I think it might just be they manage success by their ability to evolve and change with their
Yeah.
customers.
Listen to their customers, right? Like, are you doing what you say you would do? Are your company morals aligned to the product, and are you being authentic to the brand as a business? Or your customer saying, hey, all those like really nice things that you're saying you stand for, it's clear that you don't.
Yeah.
So that's important.
People see right through it these days.
Yeah.
So, and then the last question here was, what makes a brand not so good? So we talked about the things that work really well, and we've kind of talked about some things that are not so great. The first thing that comes to my mind is inconsistency. There's
Yep.
nothing more damaging to a brand than being inconsistent. And you could tie that to design, being inconsistent
Yep.
with their visual identity, being inconsistent with their purpose, right? If Airbnb just cut all those people and said nothing, sent them all emails, said, hey, next Friday's your last day, that's pretty inconsistent with what their employees had come to know, what their customers had come to know. So, it just inconsistency, it seems to be like the death sentence for a brand.
Yeah. Inconsistency and even how you experience and engage in that brand necessarily. So, maybe this is throwing a company under the bus that doesn't deserve it, but maybe if I go to the Stop and Shop, for instance, in my town, and it's old and run down, and maybe the staff is a certain way, but I go to a Stop and Shop in another town, I'm like, wow, this is like really nice and it feels more modernized and the staff is really friendly. That's a hit on the brand long term. Where if you go into Starbucks, maybe as a better example, I actually don't go in there often. I'm making an assumption that I think is probably close to accurate. You go into a Starbucks anywhere, they probably all feel the same in a lot of ways, in both the quality and the upkeep of the building, the presentation of their products, the quality of the staff, and the full experience. And therefore, that brand is consistent and is going to be a better performing brand for that reason.
1000%. And they're extremely consistent. I'll go ahead and answer it. They are.
Yeah.
But you see that with McDonald's. That's why McDonald's is king. I could go to McDonald's in your hometown in New Jersey versus my hometown here in South Carolina. A number 5 combo is going to be pretty damn consistent. And that's
Yeah.
a branded experience. And I
Yeah.
think with B2B technology companies, they need to think like that. They need to think
For
at the
sure.
level that a McDonald's and a Starbucks does, because like if you look at a best in class B2B brand like Salesforce, you're getting a consistent brand experience using their CRM, going to their conferences, interacting with customer service. And that's why they have always done really, really well. So I think it's really easy to underestimate being consistent as a B2B brand, because you're like, oh, McDonald's is
Yeah.
B2C, it's easy. But no,
That's
you've
right.
got to
Customer
find
facing. Yeah.
those opportunities. And the first moment you deliver an inconsistent brand experience to your customers, you start all the way from the beginning.
Yeah,
again.
it erodes it. It really does. It starts to chip away at it. And eventually a customer, me and you, might go, they don't really have their act together. Or you actually don't even know, it's all subliminal. You just understand that they're not best in class, but maybe you can't figure out why. Where you would never feel that way about Apple. Whether you want to say you love Android or not, there's no arguing that Apple has their brand figured out, right? If
Right.
anything, that's what they're leaning on, right? Their
Mm-hmm.
computers might actually not even function as well as another computer, but you buy that brand, and that's where that consistency is king. At
Yeah.
scale, too, not easy to do.
Not easy, but you have to be committed. That's the thing. That's the
Correct.
part that makes it tough, because people are like, oh, we've got to hit these goals. We've got to get this amount of customers. We've got to sell this many of this product, blah, 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 blah. And you start trying to get into gimmicks where if you lean into the consistency of your brand, it oftentimes works. And you can look at the
Agreed.
brands that have done it.
Yeah, I think what happens is it's easy to get lost in the woods. It's easy to get lost in the forest, right? And you need
Mhm.
to be, so now you're down to the product level. What are we going to offer and who needs it? And that's all important decision making. But on top of that, outside of the forest and the helicopter above is the fuller, larger view. And that's the brand. And sometimes organizations miss that. It's hard to get outside the forest, especially when you're
Mhm.
in the damn thing, building the damn thing.
Yeah.
Makes it easy for people like me and you to come into an organization and say like, oh, let's talk about higher than that.
Right.
But that's what
Well,
we're here for.
they're lost in the woods. We're looking from the air balloon. We see it. We see the
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
If
Well,
anything, we help them see it, right? And
oh,
maybe,
no doubt.
that's not to say we're the oracles. We don't have all the answers, but we're able to say, come up in this balloon with us.
Yeah.
Let's get like a different perspective.
It's epic. Are you afraid of heights? I hope not, because things could get nervous. You might get a little nervous the higher we go, but you got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, right on, Bill. Well, so to recap, when we're thinking of what makes brands good, what makes brands bad, it seems like the moral of this story is great brands are consistent, not so great brands are inconsistent. So that's it for
That's it for
this latest 10 minutes on brand. That was a good, great chat,
all
Bill.
right. Yeah, man. See you out there.
Later.